What's happening, people? What's going on? So, PlayStation VR is having a discounted price. Don't know if it's a long term price cut or a, you know, short term price drop. One article says it's $50, another one says like $100, which will sell a few units. Now, a few could mean like 100, 500, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000, 500,000 or so, but even still, that's not gonna do that much. Let's just be blatantly honest here. Dropping the price of PlayStation VR is not gonna move as many units as Sony is hoping for. Okay? And the reason I say this, and the reason why you should think that, is because Sony unfortunately doesn't understand why VR is not catching on. And I can understand a lot of people saying, oh, well, it's just a kitschy thing. Not really. VR could catch on in a lot of good ways. The problem here is support, both from Sony, the customers, and the developers. All three are hurting this thing. Okay? And the customers have a real reason as why they haven't went out and bought this thing. First off, the price. The price of this fucking thing, if you want to buy this and work right out of the gate, it's $500 fucking dollars. And that's to get the controllers, the camera, the headset, and have something to play. And it's a demo disc. VR Worlds. So right out of the gate, you're spending $500. That's more than the PS4. That's more than the PS4 Pro. So right off the jump, it costs more than anything else. And you can buy an Xbox One X for that price tag. That in of itself has customers going, no, I don't want that. Now, another reason nobody's buying it is because of the lackluster of support from developers, which means there's no games. And I understand there are games right now, but the amount of games does not justify the price tag, which is why customers are not buying it, which is how it ties in. And you can argue, no, that's not true. It really is. One thing Sony made sure to push is that Batman Arkham VR was exclusive. That ended up being exclusive for a few months, and due to lackluster of sales or due to Rocksteady or whatever the case may be, it was only exclusive for like a couple of months. Batman Arkham VR went on to go on Steam and became available to Oculus headset, and I think it's now on HTC Vive as well. So it's no longer exclusive on PlayStation VR. Now, with that being said, let's look at this from the standpoints of the developers. Developers only make games for systems that sell. Look at the Wii U. It didn't move that many units. Developers didn't want to touch it because they didn't see a return for their hard work or any kind of profit. So, with that being said, the PSVR is just sitting there. People are not buying it, but another reason people didn't buy it was you had that, huge launch failure where they sold about 1 million units. And I say about 1 million because it set below 1 million for the first, give or take, 3-4 months. Because they had like 919,000 somewhere in there units available at launch. And those sold completely out. Now, when a game from Capcom came out, Resident Evil 7, you may remember this game came out back in February. This game was highly pushed by Sony as being a VR-ready game, and it was known as the first full-fledged VR game. Well, when Resident Evil 7 came out back in February, Sony still had a VR shortage, and nobody could find one that wanted one. So, due to the shortage during its very beginning months, and with the launch of Resident Evil 7, nobody could play Resident Evil 7 with the VR who wanted to. Nobody could run out and buy a VR and be like, hey man, this is the way to do it. That has left a a bad taste in a lot of people's mouths. And you can say, oh, but you're just kind of nitpicking here. I'm not really, because look at the sales numbers, man. The sales numbers, this thing still sits below 5%. And I've said this in other videos. This thing still sits in less than 5% of current PS4 owners' homes. Price dropping anything is not going to help. It's going to sell a few units. Yes, and I say a few because, like I said, when I was talking about 100, 500, 1,000, 10,000, 100,000 towards a million, that's not that many units. It sounds like a lot of numbers, but we're talking about a product that, again, only sits in about 5% tops of PS4 owners' homes, when that alone, PS4, is over 60 plus million out in the wild. You see the difference in numbers here? So when developers are not making games for this one product that Sony has promised 80 games within its first physical year, and we're coming up on that year, it'll be here within the next 30 days. We'll be in the first year's month, which is October. Okay? It will have been out within a year, October. And I think it came out, October 13th? Between October 13th and October 20-something, we will be reaching the official 1 year anniversary of VR sooner than later. And they don't have 80 games. They don't have anywhere near 80 games. And full-fledged games, they have about 10 at best. And that's me being very generous. Okay, they got Resident Evil 7. Arkham VR is like a tech demo. Rush of Blood is a glorified tech demo. The game most people talk about is on that demo disc that you get if you pay the $500, which is London Heist. More and more videos that I watch about the VR headset, more people praise London Heist over Batman Arkham VR. They praise it over Rush of Blood. They praise it over Resident Evil 7. They praise it more so than anything else. And like I said, we're coming up on the year. So with that kind of information, no matter what Sony does here, whether they drop $100 or they take $50, no matter how much money you take off, it's not that the price is too high. At the end of the day, yes, the price is too high, but that really has very little to do why customers aren't buying it. Customers are not going to buy something, one, because the price is too high, but they're not going to buy something where there's no games, there's no IP available, there's nothing. And when you have games that are being re-released like Skyrim and Doom that are outshining the original IPs, people are getting tired of re-releases overthrowing new IPs. That's something that needs to be addressed. We're getting sick and tired of Skyrim looking better than the shit that's brand new. Okay, we're getting tired of that. And we're not going to support something where the best looking game is something that was on the 360 and PS3. So you can make it free, and people are still not going to buy it. That's just the truth, okay? If it's free, people are going to be like, it's just going to collect dust. And it's still going to sit on the shelves. Because why would I want it if there's nothing for it? You get what I'm saying? Well, you got fucking Resident Evil 7. Who cares? You got Skyrim. I've got Skyrim now for 3 devices. I'm going to be having it for the Switch. I have it on my Xbox One. I have it on my 360. Why do I need it on the VR headset? What would be the point of that? See what I'm saying? There's not a real reason here. And that's the point that I'm trying to get to a lot of people is, what would be the reason for VR on Sony anyway? And one of the main reasons that thing does not sell, one of the biggest reasons it doesn't sell, is word of mouth is like that much. I mean, it's smaller than the percentage you own it. Like, I can't go out and demo the thing. You can't go out and demo it. GameStops don't have a demo stations. Targets don't. Walmarts don't. Best Buys don't. No place that you can buy video games have a demo set up to where you can put it on and play the fucking thing. Sony's went around before the thing launched where you could play it, but it was in very select cities, very select areas where you could demo it. And in order to make people want to buy it and be comfortable with that price tag, you need to be able to demo this thing. I'm sorry, but that's just facts. Look, just to show you how serious it is that you need to be able to demo a VR headset, Samsung, a phone company, is sitting higher percentage of sales right now than Sony. Their VR headset is in more houses than Sony's headset. A gaming hardware manufacturer headset is sitting in lower amounts of their customers than a phone company's headset. Granted, Samsung was giving theirs away with the Samsung Galaxy 8, but still, you can try out the Samsung VR headset by walking into an AT&T store or even a Verizon store. I don't know about Sprint, but I know you can. If you walk into Verizon or AT&T, I walked into mine, my Verizon store yesterday where I went to go pay my bill. I walked in there and we were talking about Samsung, and he's like, do you know about the VR headset? I was like, yeah, but I've never tried it. And he's like, well, when you decide to trade in your phone, we have a deal going on where you can actually get the VR headset for like $25 because you'll be trading in your phone. It'll probably be covered and then some. And I was like, dude, that sounds like the shit. And he was like, yeah, man, come over here. I'll let you try it out. And I was like, hell yeah, man. So I put it on, I was looking around, looking at the menu and everything. This is something that would help sales if you could just demo the fucking thing. But unfortunately, you can't even demo it. Like, you can't walk in anywhere and be like, hey man, I want to try the VR headset out. I want to put it on and I want to play for like 5-10 minutes. And I know that seems like a real small amount of time, but that's long enough for a lot of these glorified tech demos. Rush of Blood, Batman Arkham VR, where you just move the controllers around and just get an idea of what you're doing. That would be long enough. This is why the price cut really doesn't matter. Okay? A lot of us already have the essentials for PlayStation VR. We just don't want it because the price is too high. There's nothing to play on it, and the things that are available to play on it are glorified tech demos. The full-fledged games are like that much. There's like 5 to 10. Sony bit off more than they could chew when it came to offering 80 games. They said 80 games within its first physical year. Their first physical year of releasing this thing comes up in October. And in October, they won't have met that. Which means this system will have been a failure. Okay? Now, with that being said, I do think it would be better and more beneficial for them to go back and say we bit off more than we could chew, but we're going to correct a lot of that by making it to where they have to make it to where you can demo it. GameStops, you have to demo the fucking thing because that's why we're not selling anything. Best Buys, demo the shit out of this so you can move the fucking product. Yes, we're going to have a price cut. That way it's not so high anymore and people will be more intrigued to buy it. All those things. Combine all those things. Package it with a Resident Evil game. It's an actual fucking game. Fuck VR worlds. Actually sell it with a full-fledged game for a change other than a demo disc. And have people quit talking about London Heist because London Heist is the most talked about game and it's not even a game, it's a demo. You've got to change people's perspective on this thing, and the only way to do that is by correcting all these mistakes. Because you're not doing that. You know what I'm saying to you? Anyway, there is an article linked down below talking about the PSVR and its price drop. You can feel free to go check it out. I kind of went all over the place with it because all they want to talk about is a price drop. I feel like there's much more to it than that because I look at it from a much broader perspective, and I feel like they've seriously dropped the ball with this because, like I said, Samsung's headset sits in more people's houses than PlayStation's does, even though PlayStation's is stronger. Hell, the 3DS, which I have right here, which is charging, sits in more people's houses in America because of things it did right, even though the Vita is more powerful. And the only thing the Vita ever did wrong, aside from the camera being weaker, is make a fucking memory card cost damn near the same price as a fucking console and the same price as a lot of the games. Nobody wants to pay for a memory card that costs the exact same price as a game, and you're sitting there going, do I buy memory or do I buy the game? That's it. I mean, that's seriously. These mistakes can be easily fixed, but Sony, you have to humble yourself or you have to get the fuck out. That's the only way there is. That's the only thing that you have to do, because if you don't, I've said it before and I will continue saying it, you will be going out, and you will be going out kicking and screaming, and all your fans are just going to be sitting there going, this is embarrassing. Deuces.